Alright guys, so we got some Geisha coffee today. If you guys have never heard of Geisha, I'm going to go into that a little bit before we start here. Alright, so Geisha coffee, if you're not familiar, there's basically many types of varietals of coffee, just like there's Merlot and Cabernet wine. There's many different varietals of coffee. And one of those varietals is called Geisha, which you can see is right, maybe you can't see, but it's this one right there. And basically Geisha is considered to be one of the most well-balanced and best tasting coffee varietals out there right now. It was planted back in the 60s, I believe, somewhere in either Guatemala or Panama. I was just reading all about this on there's a great blog on dsquaredjava.com talking all about Geisha. And basically, it's a tree that grows very tall. A lot of other coffee grows a lot shorter. It's been bred to grow shorter, easier to pick. So this is kind of like an heirloom coffee. So I just ground it up here in my Porlex grinder, and we're gonna give it a go in my Kalita Wave. Just get this guy all set here. It's always important to pre-wet the filters in this. All right. So I actually I got this from a friend. Who ended up buying this. I'm actually not sure on who roasted this. But again, this coffee is anywhere from $70 to almost $200 a pound, depending where you get it. So 1 second here. I'm trying to use one hand for the camera. So I did this on a medium fine grind for the Kalita. Alright, so we're at 19 grams. I usually brew somewhere between 18 and 20. Looks like we're at 19.3. Now we're going to bring our water back up to temp here. So a little more about Geisha while we wait. So basically in the 1960s, it was they were trying to cultivate it to get find a better coffee, and a better coffee that produces more per tree, which it did not do. It grows very little per tree. It's a low yield for the crop. But basically it was brought to one farm, it sat there for a while, and then in 2003 they discovered that it made just a beautiful cup of coffee. They expanded the production and won the Panama Cup of Excellence, and it's back then it was fetching, quote, record prices. Now you can buy from anywhere from $65 to $200, depending on what lot it was, all that stuff. This is talking about how roasters usually pay maybe $7 for a really, really great coffee, and this is a minimum of $20 a pound just for the green beans, and then they still have to roast it. So again, this is what the cherry looks like on the actual limb of the tree. And all right, water's still over here. It's always really important to have accurate water temperature. I like to just kind of stir this for a second, make sure I'm getting an even read throughout the water. I don't want to just have the tip touching the bottom and skew the temp results. So placing the kettle on the cool counter for just a minute. We'll drop this down in a second here. We'll take the coffee, settle it. Now, when my friend gave me this coffee, he mentioned that they were making this via an espresso machine. Although I decided, instead of going espresso, to do this in my in the Kalita, only because the beans looked like a very light roast, and I figured that I'm going to get a more even extraction this way, as I was going to do an AeroPress espresso style, and that would not, to me, that would not be doing this justice. All right, I'll start my timer here, get the pour going. Just up to 28 for the bloom. Grab a little aroma here. Oh man, the aroma is beautiful. It's very, very floral, very, very fruity. Wow. Wow, that's amazing. All right, we're at 30 seconds here. Around 45, I'm going to go in for first pour. We do need a smelloscope. Man. Yeah, I wish I could use words that were adequate to describe this. This really does smell just amazing. Wow. And the beautiful thing about this Kalita is that it's a flat bottom extraction with all these ripples on the side here. So it has a really, really even extraction over the whole brew. Alright, so we're at 1.5 minutes. That's 180. From the sounds of it, we have a pretty good extraction rate. Now the goal when pouring like this, which is hard to do while talking and holding a phone, is to create an even pour, thus giving you an even extraction rate. And you can tell by how even the color at the top of the coffee is. So right now it's fairly even. I'd give it like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. There's a few thin spots and whatnot, and my hand's a little shaky from holding the phone. Alright, we got 25 more grams of water to go. There we go. I like to be finished by 2.5 minutes. Ideally we'll get, oh, it's going a little slow. I think the grind might be a little fine on this one. Really not moving at all. Hey, you're welcome, Andy Shaw. Alright, I'm actually going to give this, I don't usually do this, but I'm going to give it a little burst, just to knock some of the stuff off the bottom. Hoping to speed that up just a little bit, because I'm risking over extraction past 3.5 minutes with a grind this fine. So the danger in brewing a single cup of coffee without having dialed anything in is basically you're going to grind it to what you think it should be based on the bean roast, how hard, how dense the bean is. But basically you need 2 or 3 brews to really dial something in between water temperature, grind consistency, and whatnot. So I'm going to pull this in about 10 seconds. So it'll be just under 4 minutes, but it'll be a little bit lower yield coffee. I have a feeling the grind was fine. So we got 351, although I started this a couple seconds early and I pulled it off without stopping the timer. So let's call that 340, so 345. And I yielded just, was that 8 ounces? Yeah, so we got 8 ounces out of it. Sorry for the shoddy camera work here. So we're at, that's the 300 mark, so we're right around 250 milliliter final pour. And that smells just incredible. Really fruity, really light. It smells very bright. I'll pour this in my Chemex mug here. For any of you guys wondering, or if you guys haven't seen pour over before, best way to start is probably, you can start with a Kalita. Those are honestly one of the more difficult pours. Chemex is great. And also a V60, as I drop all my things here. V60 is just a giant hole in the bottom with these swirled edges. So these are kind of the 3 things I go to when I'm first trying out a coffee. I'll usually go to the Kalita first and then move to a Chemex. Chemex is a safe bet, so I like to dial in on the Kalita, know I'm doing it right, move to the Chemex, which is a really smooth cup, and then if I'm feeling really really bold, I'll go back to the V60, but that's, in my experience, the hardest to hit. The biggest thing, Kalita, Kalita, Kalita. Got it right here. Kalita. This is a Kalita pour over, and because it has the rippled filter, they call it the Kalita Wave, as a wavy filter. Yeah, exactly. The number one thing that'll improve your brew is going to be getting a scale. You want to be very accurate with your grams as well as a timer. This Hario scale has a timer built in right next to the gram scale, and then obviously a gooseneck pour over kettle. I skimped and only paid like 35 bucks for this one, and it does really well, although I do wish that I spent the $100 or so to get the electronic version of this. I believe Hario makes it. I'll have to look that up. But basically you can dial in the exact temperature you want the water to end at. So it's a pour over kettle with a heating element in the bottom with one of the plastic bases. You just kind of set the kettle onto the base, and it will automatically heat the water and hold the water at the temperature you want, versus trying to take a instant read thermometer, jam it in there, and try and get your temp correct. So this method works. It totally does, but it certainly, if you're not paying really close attention, can leave for some error. So anyways, gonna try this. Let's see, color looks great. It's a lighter color. You can't see too much with the phone. So it's definitely a light brew. Wow. That is fucking awesome coffee. That is amazing. It pulls together so many things of I wish I knew more about the varietals and the actual terms I could use here. It's really smooth. It's almost slightly nutty, but mostly, I would say it's a mostly fruity, bright cup with the hint of that nutty, deep coffee flavor. That more, I could be talking out my ass on this one, but I believe more like South American style coffees usually have. That really nutty, or people think like Colombian flavor. Anyways, fucking awesome coffee. Thank you so much to my friend who was able to get this for me. And I'm going to be working hopefully with a roaster soon that can get some more of this stuff. So ideally, I'm going to have more of this, and I'll have a full write-up on our coffee blog, thecoffeepress.co, thecoffeepress.co. So thanks, guys, and talk to you soon.